Hello friends, welcome to Margee. We are discussing Economic Survey 2021-22, and in that today we are going to discuss agriculture and food management, this topic. Some points of this topic we discussed in our last session, and now we are going to discuss the rest of the points of this topic. So agriculture and food management, and in that the point that we were discussing yesterday was edible oil. So regarding this edible oil, so this oil seed production in India, it has steadily increased since 2016-17. So they are talking about this steady increase of this oil seed production since 2016-17. And prior to 2016-17, this was a fluctuating trend prior to 2016-17. And now this oil seed production in India, it has grown by almost 43% from 2015-16 to 2020-21. That is the data which is given in this survey. But when we talk about the overall situation, the oil production in India, it has lagged behind the consumption. So you are having the consumption which is more than the production. Because of that, there is necessity for import of edible oils. And because of that, Prime Minister of India also have talked about this, that we want to be self-sufficient in this edible oil. So import of edible oil, that is the key issue here. So edible oil. After that, India is world's second largest consumer and number one importer of vegetable oil. This one fact is also attached to this earlier point, that India is world's second largest consumer and number one importer of vegetable oil. Now related to this oil seeds, we are having this mission called National Food Security Mission Oil Seeds. This National Food Security Mission specific to oil seeds. Now under this scheme, various interventions are being made, like production of foundation and certified seed, distribution of certified seeds, and seed mini kits are also distributed. And related to that, what kind of seeds are distributed? So high yielding variety seeds are distributed. So under this mission. So overall under this National Food Security Mission oil seeds, Government of India has set up 36 seed hubs. So these kind of seed hubs are being set up during 2018-19 and 2019-20. So overall 36 such a kind of seed hubs are being set up for the distribution of seeds under this National Food Security Mission oil seeds. After that, government is also working in other areas of this oil seeds. So government has through MSP regime been providing price signal for crop diversification towards the production of oil seed, so that you can increase the production of oil seed. For that purpose, this MSP regime is also being used. Then in August 2021, there is another mission which is launched, that is National Mission on Edible Oil Palm, NMEOOP, that is National Mission on Edible Oil Palm. And why this mission is launched? To increase or to augment the availability of edible oil in the country by harnessing area expansion, the area under which you are cultivating this oil seeds. So area expansion, and also through various kind of price incentives, this kind of augmentation of availability of edible oil is being attempted. So that is again one more point. And why this is being done? Because of this one fact which is already mentioned in this survey, that oil production in India has lagged behind its consumption, and because of that there is necessity of import of edible oil. And if you want to decrease the import, then you are having these kind of government interventions: National Food Security Mission oil seeds, and then National Mission on Edible Oil Palm. Now under this edible oil palm scheme, for the first time government will give a price assurance to the oil palm farmers. Price assurance will be given to oil palm farmers, and it will be for fresh fruit bunches. So this FFB, this is again important term, that for this the price assurance will be given to oil palm farmers. And this price at which this assurance is given, that price is also known as viability price. So this term is used in survey, viability price, right? Then apart from this, there is one more data which is given, that at present only 3.70 lakh hectares is under oil palm cultivation, and we need to increase this. And what is the potential? This oil palm produces 10 to 46 times more oil per hectare, 10 to 46 times more oil per hectare compared to other oilseed crops. And because of that, this oil palm is having a big potential. And also it has yield of around 4 tons oil per hectare. That is the potential of this oil palm. And in order to harness that potential, this national mission is being launched. The scheme aims to cover this national mission on oil palm. This scheme aims to cover an additional area of 6.5 lakh hectare for oil palm till 2025-26, and thereby reach the target of 10 lakh hectares ultimately. That is the ultimate target, that is 10 lakh hectares under the oil palm. After this, they talk about sugar sector. First, they talked about edible oil, now sugar sector. Now, India is second largest, and within India, they are talking about that second largest agro-based industry, that is sugar sector. First is cotton. So, which is the largest agro-based industry in India? That is cotton. And after that, you are having sugar sector. Overall, what is the impact on livelihood? So, it has the impact over 5 crore farmers and their dependents. So, 5 crore farmers and their dependents. That is the huge impact of the sugar sector. India is the largest consumer and second largest producer of sugar in the world. India is largest consumer and second largest producer of sugar in the world. And these kind of statements are being used in your prelims exam also. Average annual production of sugarcane, it is around 35.5 crore tons, which is used to produce around 3 crore tons of sugar. So sugarcane average annual production is 35.5 crore tons. 35.5 crore tons, that is the average annual production of sugarcane. And from that 35.5 crore, 3 crore tons of sugar is being produced. Domestic consumption of sugar, if we see the current data 2020-21, domestic consumption is estimated to be around 2.6 crore tons, and we are having 3 crore tons of sugar from the average annual production of sugarcane. So that means that consumption, and more than that we are having our production in this sugar production. Then the interest of farmers is also protected in this by FRP. Now FRP means what? Fair and remunerative price, which has doubled in a span of 10 years, and because of that also the farmers are being incentivized to cultivate the sugarcane. In addition, some state governments announce the state advised price, that is SAP, at levels which are higher than FRP. So by doing this, they are again incentivizing the farmer. Additionally, the sugar mills that buy the sugarcane, so sugar mills that buy the sugarcane are mandated to purchase crops from farmers within a specified radius. So if you are having your sugar mill in this area, so within a specified radius of this, that will be specified according to the industry, and within this specified radius, you need to purchase the crop from farmers. And that specified radius or this entire area is also known as cane reservation area. So within this cane reservation area only you need to purchase your crop. So that is the obligation on sugar mills. So by doing all these kind of things, you are incentivizing the sugarcane farmers then. Incentivizing sugar mills. Next point is incentivizing sugar mills to divert the excess sugarcane or sugar to ethanol. So once you are having, let's say here is farmer, after that here is sugar mill, and after that you are also having this ethanol blending program. So all these things are being connected here, that farmers are incentivized, after that sugar mill owners are also incentivized here. So incentivizing sugar mills to divert the excess sugarcane or sugar to ethanol production, providing financial assistance for transport to sugar mills to facilitate export of sugar. All these are the initiatives that are being taken. So by doing this, we are trying to harness the potential of the sugar sector. Harness the potential of sugar sector. These points are provided in this survey. Then When we see this trend in fair and remunerative price, that is rupees per quintal, so from 145 to 290, so that is almost doubled. 2011-12 it was 145 per quintal we are talking about, and then 2021-22 it is 290, so almost it has doubled. Then when we talk about this FRP, on one side we this is FRP, and on other side, next point that is given here is minimum support price, MSP, minimum support price. Already this is quite in news, MSP. In UPSC Mains 2018, directly one question about MSP was asked, what is minimum support price and what is the exact strategy. So related to that, one question is already asked. And earlier they have also asked you question on various crops that are under minimum support price. So some basic things about this MSP are given, that government fixes MSP of 22 mandated agricultural crops on the basis of recommendation of CACP, that is Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. This is basic thing, this you will get in any economic textbook. And after due consideration of the views of state governments and concerned central ministries or departments. So yes, there is recommendation of CACP, but there is also due consideration of the views of state government and concerned central ministries or departments. What are these 22 mandated crops which are in this MSP regime? So 22 crops, within that 14 are kharif crops, like paddy is there, jowar is there, bajra, maize, ragi, Ur, or also known as arhar, moong is there, urad is there, groundnut, soybean, yellow soybean, and then sunflower seeds are there, sesamum is there, Niger seed is there, cotton is there. So these are the 14 crops, kharif crops, which are under MSP regime. There are 6 rabi crops, which are wheat, barley, gram, masoor, that is lentil, then rapeseed, and then mustard. These are the rabi crops which are under the MSP regime. Also, apart from that, we are having safflower. These are the 6 rabi crops which are under MSP regime. And then there are 2 commercial crops, that is jute and copra, which are also part of your MSP regime. So they can also ask you like which of the following are kharif crops, which of the following are rabi crops. So from that angle also in prelims, this is important. And in addition to all these crops, there are 2 more crops, MSP for toria and dehusked coconut. Toria and dehusked coconut, these are also fixed on the basis of MSPs of some other crops. These are not under MSP regime, but their price is fixed on the basis of MSPs of rapeseed and mustard. And then this is on one side rapeseed and mustard, and then on other side copra. So the MSPs of rapeseed and mustard on one side and MSPs on copra on other side. So the prices of toria is fixed on the basis of this rapeseed and mustard, and dehusked coconut, this is based on the price of copra. Now, what are the important factors then? What are the important factors that are considered while deciding the MSP? What are the important factors? One is the cost of production. After that, what is the overall demand supply condition for any particular crop? That will be taken into account. Then what are the domestic prices of that crop? What are the international prices of that crop? After that, intercrop, within crop price parity also, that is one important point. Intercrop price parity. Then terms of trade between agricultural and non-agricultural sector. This is also considered, that what are the terms of trade between agriculture and non-agricultural sector. Then likely effect of that particular price on the rest of the economy. This is also taken into account. After that, it is also ensured that rational utilization will be there of land, water, and other production resources. If you are having MSP for any particular crop, then for cultivation of that crop, there should be rational utilization of land, water, and other production resources. And then the last point is minimum 50% as the margin over cost of production. So whatever cost of production you are having, you should have minimum 50% margin over that, and accordingly then the price of the crop will be decided. So these are the various factors that are considered while deciding the minimum support price. Then in budget 2018-19, this was quite in news at that time. Union budget for 2018-19, it had announced the predetermined principle, already determined principle, to keep MSP at the level of 1.5 times of the cost of production. So MSP will be 1.5, that means 1.5 times the cost of production. So that was the predetermined principle which was decided or announced in Union Budget 2018-19. After that, on one side they talked about FRP, other side they talked about MSP, and now they are talking about crop diversification. Crop diversification, why you want to have crop diversification? Because through crop diversification you can promote sustainable agriculture. You can also reduce the import dependence of country, import dependence, because while diversifying the sources, diversifying the crops, you can have the more production of any particular crop, so that there will be reduction in import dependence, and ultimately you will be having higher incomes for farmers. So you can relate this with doubling of farmers income. So the report of this DFI committee, doubling farmers income, DFI committee, it suggests that shifting some area from staple cereals to high value produce can lead to a sizable increase in returns for farmers. So if you are diversifying the crops, this DFI committee is also suggesting that it will lead to sizable increase in returns for farmers. And this DFI committee report, it is also suggesting that this would also bring in water use efficiency and sustainability of soil health. That soil will be exposed to different kind of crops, and because of that there will be sustainability of soil health also. So on one side they are talking about water use efficiency, and on other side they are talking about sustainability of soil health. So these are also added advantages of crop diversification: water use efficiency and then sustainability of soil health. Crop diversification, about that DFI committee is suggesting this thing. Then there is one dedicated program called Crop Diversification Program, CDP, Crop Diversification Program, which is being implemented in some of the states. Now, in question, they can give you that in all the states or throughout the India. No, it is implemented in original Green Revolution states, that is Punjab, after that Haryana, and then Western UP. And this is part of your Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So this crop diversification program, it is a sub scheme of Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, and this is since 2013-14. And why this is being done? To shift the area under paddy cultivation towards less water requiring crops like oilseed, pulses, etc. So this crop diversification program is there, which is a sub scheme of Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. After that, there is one more important fact which was given here, that is baseline water stress. So in prelims exam they can ask you this, because of that it is added here. Baseline water stress means what? It is ratio of total annual water withdrawal from the land or ground to the total available annual renewable supply. So how much water you are withdrawing to that of total available annual renewable supply of water. So how much you are withdrawing and how much is being added. So the ratio of that is nothing but baseline water stress. And if this withdrawal is greater than the annual renewable supply, then there will be very high amount of stress. There will be very high amount of stress if withdrawal is more than the supply. That is one important point, baseline water stress. Then they are talking about agricultural credit, because whenever we talk about financial inclusion, in that this agricultural credit is very important point. So how much is the data about this agricultural credit? So agricultural credit flow for the year 2020-21, it was 15,75,398 crores. 15,75,398 crore against the target of 15 lakh crore for the year. So the target was achieved for the year 2020-21. Agricultural credit target was 15 lakh crore and the actual credit was 15,75,398 crore. Agricultural credit flow target for 2021-22. This was for 2020-21. Now, for 2021-22, the target is fixed at rupees 16 lakh 50,000 crore and till 30th of September 2021. So, within this time frame, till 30th of September 2021, against this target, a sum of 7 lakh 36,589.05. To be precise, this is the number, and this much amount is already been disbursed. Out of 16 lakh 50,000, 7 lakh 36,000 roughly has already been disbursed. And as on 17th of January 2022, banks have also issued the Kisan credit card to 2.70 crore eligible farmers. So this is also one way through which you are giving agricultural credit. Kisan credit card. Then a total of 67,581 Kisan credit cards have been issued to fishers and fish farmers by 17th of December 2021. Also, over 14 lakh fresh Kisan credit cards were sanctioned for animal husbandry and dairying farmers by 10th of December 2021. And these are the two new additions to this scheme, that you are giving Kisan credit card to fishermen also, and you are also giving Kisan credit card to animal husbandry and dairy farmers. These are the two new additions, and this is the data related to that. After that, next point they are talking about is water and irrigation. Water and irrigation. When we talk about agriculture, water is that critical input. When we talk about agriculture, and agriculture accounts for about 80% of current water use in the country, and because of that, this is quite significant thing. And since this is very high amount of water consumption, we talk about the water use efficiency also. Water use efficiency. This year's mains exam also, they asked you a question related to the micro irrigation, through which you can try to improve the water use efficiency. So the share of net irrigated area accounts for about 49% of the total net sown area in the country. Share of net irrigated area, it accounts for about 49% of total net sown area in the country. And out of the net irrigated area, about 40% is through canal system and 60% is through groundwater. So out of the total net irrigated area, 40% is through canal system and 60% is through groundwater. That is again one significant point. Now, rate of extraction of groundwater. Rate of extraction of groundwater is very high, that is more than 100% in state of Delhi, Haryana, Punjab and then Rajasthan. In these four states, you are having very high rate of extraction of groundwater. That means this baseline water stress that we were talking about here, that is quite high in these states. Baseline water stress. Right. And in the end, they are talking about the solution then, that increased coverage under micro irrigation. Based on this question was asked in mains 2021. So increased coverage under micro irrigation can be the most effective mode of water conservation. That is the point they are making. And since they are talking about micro irrigation, after that they have given the fact, that is micro irrigation fund is there, and in that fund you are having corpus of 5,000 crore. This is again one important thing. Sometimes they can ask you about this amount also in prelims exam. Micro irrigation fund, the corpus is 5,000 crore and it was created with NABARD. It was created with NABARD since 2018-19. And related to this 5,000 crore micro irrigation fund, there is one important detail which is given, that as on 1st of December 2021, project with loans under the micro irrigation fund amounting to 3,970 crores, so this much amount is being utilized, have been approved for 12.81 lakh hectare of micro irrigation area. So the projects amounting this much, 3,970.17 crore, this much amount of projects have been sanctioned as on 1st of December 2021. Also, they have given one more fact about this per drop more crop component of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, and why this is being implemented. Per drop more crop component, this is for the promotion of micro irrigation. When we talk about per drop more crop, that means we are talking about increasing the water use efficiency. And as on 14th of December 2021, total area of 59.37 lakh hectare has been covered under the micro irrigation in the country from 2015-16. So if you count from 2015-16, this much amount of area has been covered under micro irrigation, 59.37 lakh hectare. That is the data which is given in economic survey. After that, they are talking about agricultural marketing. Agricultural marketing. So there is network of 6,946 regulated wholesale markets in India, and which is set up under the provision of respective state agricultural produce market committee acts. So these are under the respective states APMC Act. 6,946 regulated wholesale markets are being created. Now APMC, this Agricultural Produce Market Committee, APMC have been recognized as one of the eligible entity under your Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, AIF. Under your Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, APMCs are being recognized as one of the eligible entity. So that by utilization of this fund in APMC, they can strengthen the infrastructure. They can strengthen the infrastructure in APMC mandis. And then all the loans under this agriculture infrastructure fund have the interest subvention of 3%. You are having interest subvention of 3% under this loans of AIF. Per annum 3% interest subvention is there, and there is also upper limit up to rupees 2 crores. Now this subvention will be available for maximum period of 7 years. Through this much amount of time you can strengthen your infrastructure in APMC mandis. That is again one significant point which is given here. After that, there is one more scheme which is mentioned related to this agricultural marketing, that is National Agriculture Market Enam scheme 2016. Now the objective of this scheme is to promote the transparency. First of all, objective of creating online transparent competitive bidding system. Objective of creating online transparent competitive bidding system, so that the farmers can get the due price of their product. So to facilitate farmers with remunerative price for their produce. And as on 1st of December 2021, 1000 mandis of 18 states and 3 UTs. So total 1000 mandis from 18 states and 3 UTs have been integrated with your Enam platform. That is again one important point which is given here as on 1st of December 2021. Then related to this agricultural marketing, there is one more point about farmer producer organization. There is one central sector scheme of formation and promotion of 10,000 farmer producer organizations. 10,000 farmer producer organizations to form and promote 10,000 new FPOs till 2027-28. So you need to create 10,000 new farmer producer organizations till 2027-28, and for that purpose you are having one dedicated scheme. And under this scheme, the formation and promotion of FPO, that is farmer producer organization, is based on this produce cluster area approach. Produce cluster area approach and specialized commodity based approach. So these approaches are being used for the promotion of farmer producer organizations, produce cluster area approach, and then specialized commodity based approach. And while adopting this cluster means it is like group of different areas. So while adopting the cluster based approach, formation of FPOs focuses on one district, one product, to enable the product specialization in that district, so that you can have that one cluster in which you are having dedicated product in that particular area. And as on January 2022, so this is the target, that by 2027-28 you want 10,000 new farmer producer organizations. And as on January 2022, a total of 1963 FPOs have been registered under this scheme. So you want 10,000, and as on January 2022, roughly 2000 FPOs are being registered, and now still 8000 are remaining, and this is for the period of next 6 years, roughly 6 years. This is the target. Then in one separate box, they are talking about sweet revolution. Sweet revolution. The government has approved the allocation of 500 crore for National Beekeeping and Honey Mission. National Beekeeping and Honey Mission. This is important from the point of view of current affairs also, because this will be ongoing mission 2020-21 to 2022-23. For 3 years, this mission will be implemented. 500 crore National Beekeeping and Honey Mission. Now, this National Beekeeping and Honey Mission, it aims for overall promotion and development of scientific beekeeping in the country, so that you can achieve the goal of sweet revolution, which is being implemented through National Bee Board. Now, you should read about this National Bee Board. This is just briefly mentioned here. National Bee Board. This is very important because these kind of questions are asked in your prelims exam. Now, regarding the potential of export, India's export of honey has increased. This is again one important point. India's export of honey has increased by about 110% between 2013-14 to 2019-20. Since last few years, this India's export of honey has increased by about 110%. That is again a significant point. Then they are talking about the situation assessment survey. Earlier they talked about sweet revolution, and now they are talking about this situation assessment survey. Now, who is conducting this situation assessment survey, which is related to the holdings of household, livestock holdings of household and land holding of household? So this is related to the land and livestock holdings of the household, and this is being carried out by National Statistical Office. Situation assessment survey carried out by National Statistical Office, and this survey is officially titled as Land and Livestock Holding of Household and Situation Assessment of Agricultural Household. Now, in this entire assessment or in this entire survey, they are talking about some important facts. The average monthly income per agricultural household, average monthly income per agricultural household as per the paid out expenses approach, that the expenses that are paid out. So this paid out expense approach, the average monthly income per agricultural household is roughly 10,218 rupees, and then average monthly income per agricultural household was 6,426 as per the last SAS report, which was being released in 2014. By using the same approach, they have calculated it. So in 2015, this was 6,426, and in 2021, this is 10,218. Average monthly income of agricultural household. Then this SAS report, that is Situational Assessment Survey Report 2021, it also shows increasing fragmentation of holdings, that is land holding they are talking about. So increasing fragmentation of land holding, as it is evident from the increasing share of small farmers. So you are having fragmentation of land holding, so size of the land holding is decreasing now, and average size of holding or household ownership land holding, it has declined. And this is again very critical point, that average size of the household ownership holding, it has declined from 0.725 hectare, which was in 2003, then 0.592 hectare, which was in 2013, and then it further declined to 0.512 hectare in 2019. So this is continuously declined. So it is like this, continuously it is declined. It is like this. So we can mark like this, we place 3 dots, and this size of land holding, it has declined continuously. Like this, you can have the map. So here you can see year, and here is size of land holding. So it has continuously declined. So in 2003 it was 0.725, in 2013 it was 0.592 hectare, and then in 2019 it was 0.512 hectare. So it is an hectare. So this kind of map you can draw in your answers also, in order to show that how critical is to increase the size of land holding. Then after that they are talking about natural farming. Main aim of promotion of this natural farming is elimination of chemical fertilizers, because through this there can be possibility of soil pollution also. So elimination of chemical fertilizers and pesticide usage, and then promotion of good agronomic practices. That is the ultimate aim of this natural farming. And because of natural farming, there are some added benefits like soil fertility and soil organic matter will be restored by natural farming practice. And also, the natural farming system will require less water, and these are climate friendly. Exactly these kind of statements can be given in your prelims paper, and one MCQ can be formed on this topic, natural farming. So it requires less water and these are climate friendly. That is again one important point. Natural farming. Then related to this, there is one more important scheme, that is Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati Program. So this is a dedicated scheme called Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati Program, which promote on-farm biomass recycling. On-farm biomass recycling, and in that they are talking about major stress is on this biomass mulching. After that, use of on-farm cow dung urine formulation in order to avoid the use of chemical fertilizers. Then periodic soil aeration, and then exclusion of all the synthetic chemical inputs. So as part of your natural farming, you are having this Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati program. And under this program, you will give financial assistance to farmers of rupees 12,200 per hectare for 3 years. So this much amount of financial assistance is approved for a period of 3 years under this Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati program. After that, next section they are talking about is allied sector, that is animal husbandry and dairying. And within that the first point is this livestock sector. And as per the early estimates of National Account Statistics NAS 2020, National Account Statistics, the contribution of livestock in the total agriculture and allied sector GVA, whatever value is added by the entire agriculture and allied sector, so within that the contribution of livestock in this total agriculture and allied sector is increased from 24.32%, which was in 2014-15, to 29.35% in 2019-20. So share or contribution of livestock in total agriculture and allied sector gross value added, and this they are talking in terms of constant price. So they are talking in terms of constant price, that the contribution of livestock in total agriculture and allied sector. So this has increased. This is one important point. This has increased from 24.32% to 29.35%. Also, the livestock sector contributed 4.35% of total gross value added. So total we are talking about, not only agriculture and allied sector, but total gross value added. Within that, livestock sector contributed 4.35% in 2019-20. Now, these kind of data can be very important if they are asking you one specific question in mains exam on this livestock sector, because you can put your points and validate that point by using this data, that what is the significance of livestock sector. So you can write this point, that the contribution in this gross value added is very high. That is one significant point. Then related to this, there is one more fact which is given about egg and meat production. Egg and meat production. According to this FAO stat production data 2020, India ranks third in the egg production. India ranks third in the egg production and eighth in the meat production in the world. So you should check which country is ranked first. First and first in egg production and first in meat production. Which country is ranking first? India is ranking third in egg production, eighth in meat production. And related to this, there are some recent initiatives in animal husbandry and dairy sector which are given here. Recent initiatives in animal husbandry and dairy sector. First is your National Animal Disease Control Program. These are highly important for your prelims exam. Why? Because they ask you routinely the questions on various government initiatives. So National Animal Disease Control Program, this is largest ever vaccination program, largest ever, this is largest ever vaccination program which is carried out on either for human or animal vaccination in the world. So if you are talking about human or animal vaccination, either for both, this is the largest ever vaccination program, and it is implemented with the aim to control and eventually eradicate the FMD, which is foot and mouth disease, and then brucellosis. So you want to eradicate these two diseases in animals by 2030, and that is the ultimate objective of this National Animal Disease Control Program. Then there is one more important fund related to animal husbandry. Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. As part of your Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is ANB stimulus package last year, as part of ANB stimulus package, Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. This was launched in 2020 during that first nationwide lockdown. So this Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund worth rupees 15,000 crore was launched in 2020. That is very huge amount. It facilitates investment in the establishment of infrastructure for dairy and meat processing, and also establishment of various kind of animal feed plants by the farmer producer organization. We are having target of 10,000 FPOs by 2027-28, and this establishment of animal feed plants by FPOs, then individual entrepreneurs, MSMEs are also involved in this. Various kind of Section 8 companies are also involved in this, and private companies are also involved in this. So these various kind of organizations will be establishing the animal feed plants under this or as part of this Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. So investment will be given in these areas. Under this scheme, central government provides 3% interest subvention also to the borrower, and credit guarantee up to 25% of total borrowing will be given by central government. That is again one important point regarding this Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. After that, they are talking about the another sector, that is fisheries. Related to this, one fact is given that India is second largest fish producing country in the world, and it accounts for 7.56% of global production of fisheries. So this is one significant data. So you should check which is the first country then, which is the largest fish producing country in the world. Now related to contribution to economy, it contribute about 1.24% to the country's gross value added and over 7.28% to the agricultural gross value added. In terms of employment, this sector support the livelihood of over 28 million people. So 28 million, 1 million means 10 lakh. So 28 million people in India are getting livelihood, especially the marginalized and vulnerable communities are being supported by this sector. And if you talk about the export, that you are exporting the fish products, so export earning, just a second, export earning from the fishery sector was 46,662.85 crore. So this is the precise amount that we earned during 2019-20 due to export of fish products. So export earning from the fisheries sector, it was 46,662.85 crore during 2019-20. That is again one significant data about the contribution of this fishery sector in the Indian economy. Then related to this, the government has launched new flagship scheme of rupees 20,050 crore. That is the amount of this scheme, 20,050 crore, called as Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. This was launched in May 2020, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, and this was also part of your Atmanirbhar Bharat package. And under this scheme, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, some key interventions that include enhancing fish production and productivity, then modernizing and strengthening the value chain of this entire sector, creating fisheries and this post harvest infrastructure related to fisheries, and developing robust fishery management and regulatory framework. So these are the different kind of interventions which are being done under this Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Then related to agriculture, the next point that they are talking about is mechanization. Agricultural mechanization, and in that they have given this submission on agricultural mechanization, SMAM. Now, as part of this submission on agricultural mechanization, there is assistance given to state governments for providing training and demonstration of agricultural machinery and assisting farmers in procurement of various agricultural machinery and equipment. So you are supporting the farmers, in using the mechanized products, so machinery and equipments related to agriculture. And this will be done along with setting up of custom hiring centers through which the assistance will be provided to farmers. So submission on agricultural mechanization. And as part of this, there is one more initiative that government has developed, the multilingual mobile app called Farm Machinery Solutions, that is FARMS. Farm Machinery Solutions. FARMS app is being developed which help the farmer in getting the rented farm machinery and implements through this custom hiring centers in their area. So you can get the rented farm machinery and various kind of implements or equipments through the custom hiring centers in your area. So for that purpose, this app is also being launched, Farm Machinery Solutions, FARMS app. And related to this mechanization, that how you decide that there is very high amount of mechanization, there is one important indicator called tractors. This is very important. That sale of tractors and power tillers. It may be used as an indicator of farm mechanization. And if we talk about this in India, then India's tractor industry, it is the largest in the world, accounting for 1/3 of total global production of tractors that is done in India, and which shows the level of farm mechanization or the potential of farm mechanization in India. And when we talk about mechanization, there is one more associated issue of stubble burning. So crop residue management. So for that purpose, you are having new central sector scheme titled Promotion of Agricultural Mechanization for in situ management. In situ means on that place only you will manage the crop residue, and this is in the states of Punjab, Haryana, then Uttar Pradesh, and then National Capital Territory of Delhi. So this is a new central sector scheme which is being launched for the period of 2018-19 to 2020-21. So which has been ended recently, and outlay is 1791.80 crore. That was the total outlay of this new central sector scheme related to crop residue management. Then related to agriculture, next important point, we talked about the mechanization. So the next obvious point should be research and development. So the role of R&D in agriculture. According to one report which was released by this famous organization or institute, that is International Food Policy Research Institute, IFPRI. So this report states that agriculture is key to meeting half of the 17 Sustainable Development Goal targets. Agriculture is key to meeting half of the 17 Sustainable Development Goal targets, which inter alia include the targets of eliminating poverty and hunger and reducing inequalities. So if you want to achieve these targets, agriculture is key, according to this report released by International Food Policy Research Institute. And this research shows that every rupee spent on agricultural research, so according to this report by IFPRI, every rupee spent on agricultural research and development will yield much better returns. So if you are spending 1 rupee, you will get 11.2 rupees. And as compared to returns on even every rupee spent on fertilizer subsidy, you will get 0.88 rupee back. Every rupee spent on power subsidy, you will get 0.79 rupee back. Education 0.97 rupee. On roads 1.10 rupee. This is the entire data given in economic survey only. So they are talking about this agricultural research that you spend 1 rupee, you will get 11.2 in return. That is a significant point. Next, they are talking about food processing sector. Food processing sector during the last 5 years, which ended in 2019-20. This data is till 2019-20. This food processing sector, FPI, food processing industry sector, it has been growing at an average annual growth rate of around 11.18%. And as per the annual survey of industry for 2017-18, total number of persons engaged in registered food processing sector was 19.33 lakh. So that is the employment potential of this sector. First, we talked about the growth of the sector, and second point was about the employment potential. This is about the registered food processing sector, and related to unregistered food processing sector, it support employment to 51.11 lakh. That is a huge number, 51.11 lakh workers as per the NSSO 73rd round report 2015-16. So for both registered and unregistered food processing sectors, the data is given in this topic, food processing sector. And related to this, next point is FDI, foreign direct investment in food processing sector. This is important for both your prelims as well as mains exam, that how much is the FDI permitted. So 100% FDI is permitted under automatic route in your food processing sector. But when we talk about trading in respect of food products that are manufactured and or produced in India, including that through e-commerce, that are circulated through e-commerce. So for these kind of food products, you are having 100% FDI through government approval route. That is the difference. For your food processing sector, you are having 100% FDI, but products that are manufactured or produced in India, including those through e-commerce also, those circulated through e-commerce, 100% FDI through government approval route is allowed there. And the sector has witnessed the FDI equity inflow of roughly 4.99 billion US dollar, and that in between 2014 April to September 2021. In between this time period 2014 to 2021, the sector has witnessed FDI equity inflow of 4.99 billion US dollar. And related to this, there are some other initiatives which are mentioned related to your this food processing sector. First is this Prime Minister formalization of micro food processing enterprises, then Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, and then this Operation Greens, that is top scheme, tomato, onion and potato, top scheme. These are the three schemes that are mentioned in this survey, which you should read. After that, they talk about food management. Food management and why this food management is important. Firstly, they are talking about this, the objective of food management. What are the objective? That procurement of food grains from the farmers at remunerative price, so that farmers should get the fair price of their produce. Then distribution of food grains to consumers, that is one more aspect of food management. Particularly the vulnerable sections of society should get the food grains at affordable price, and whatever buffer stock you are having, it should be maintained properly and safely, so that it should not get deteriorated. So maintenance of food buffer stock for food security and price stability. So all these are the objectives of your food management. And when we talk about food management in India, the nodal agency for all these kind of things is Food Corporation of India. So nodal agency which undertakes procurement, distribution and storage of food grain is the Food Corporation of India. And related to that, what is the legal framework available with us? It is National Food Security Act 2013. So the distribution of food grains, it is undertaken primarily under your National Food Security Act 2013 and the other welfare schemes of the government of India related to this. But at the core, you are having this National Food Security Act 2013, which is basically related to your food management. Then allocation of food grains. Next point in this food management is allocation of food grains, that how you allocate the food grains to the beneficiaries. So the government has launched this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, and the schemes that are mentioned in this survey, these are some of the recent schemes. So Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, this was initially for the period from April to June 2020. During that first nationwide lockdown, for the period of April 2020 to June 2020, this scheme was launched. However, keeping in view of need for continuous support to the poor and needy, because pandemic was still going on, so this scheme has been extended and implemented in various phases. And right now you are having phase 5 of this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, which is for the period between December 2021 to March 2022. Phase 5 of this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Then apart from that, there is one more issue of hidden hunger, which is being highlighted here. Hidden hunger means what? You are eating food, but you are not getting the appropriate nutrients that are necessary for your body functioning. So that is nothing but hidden hunger. Hidden hunger. And related to that, you are having this fortification of rice and its distribution. This important point, rice fortification. So the government of India has approved the centrally sponsored pilot scheme, that is a pilot scheme for temporary basis, fortification of rice and its distribution under public distribution system. And this was approved on 14th of February 2019, and it was for the period of 3 years. So this is also a current scheme, that fortification of rice and its distribution under public distribution system. So this scheme started in 2019-20 and it will be implemented for the next 3 years from 2019-20. Then government has also started distributing fortified rice. Fortified rice means what? The rice is fortified with appropriate nutrients. So the government started distributing fortified rice under the integrated crop development scheme and then PM Poshan scheme. So the government has started distributing fortified rice under these schemes across the country during 2021-22. So under these schemes, the fortified rice was also distributed during 2021-22. Why this was done? In order to scale up the distribution of fortified rice so that maximum number of people should get these fortified rice. So this was done to scale up the distribution to fight the problems like malnutrition and micronutrient deficiencies among pregnant women, lactating mothers and then children. So this was done as part of your integrated this child development scheme and PM Poshan scheme, which are basically for the purpose of nutrient supply to beneficiaries. And this was done in 2021-22. Apart from this, there are some other schemes mentioned in the survey that you should read. That is One Nation, One Ration Card and then Open Market Sell Scheme. These two are the government schemes which are highlighted in economic survey. After that, they talk about the ethanol blended with petrol, that is EBP program. Ethanol blended with petrol, EBP program. Now there are some modification in the targets here. The government has now set up 20% ethanol blending target for mixing ethanol with petrol to be achieved by 2025. So you will have 20% ethanol blending with the petrol. Now it is estimated that the blending target, which is right now 10%, would be achieved during 2022. 10% of blending target will be achieved and you have now modified it to 20% to be achieved by 2025. With a view to achieve these targets, government has allowed multiple kind of things like production of ethanol from different feedstocks like BHY and CHY molasses. So you should read about this BHY and CHY molasses. Then cane juice is there. Through that you can get ethanol. Sugar syrup is there. Then sugar and damaged food grains are there, including surplus FCI rice, that is in the godowns of Food Corporation of India, the surplus FCI rice that you are having, surplus maize you are having. From that also you can produce ethanol by the distilleries, either attached with the sugar mills or standalone. So for the purpose of improving or increasing the production of ethanol, these kind of measures are being taken by the government. Then next point about this agriculture is about the food management is the storage, that where you store the grains. So government is implementing a central sector scheme for the construction of godowns with a focus on augmenting the storage capacity. And as part of this central sector scheme, the funds are released directly to Food Corporation of India, and they will have all the kind of construction activity related to godowns. So funds are released directly to FCI in the form of equity for land acquisition and construction of storage godowns. So you will acquire the land, you will construct the godowns on that land, and the related infrastructure also, like railway siding, electrification, installation of weight bridge, all these kind of things that are necessary for the storage godowns, that will be created or constructed by the Food Corporation of India. So that is one significant scheme which was mentioned here about the construction of godowns. Then they talk about the fertilizers. All these are issues that are revolving around agriculture and food management. About fertilizers, urea. At the start, they are talking about urea, which is being provided to farmers at statutorily notified maximum retail price. That is one important thing. Maximum retail price. So, at statutorily provided or notified maximum retail price, urea is being provided. And as for the other fertilizers, that is phosphatic and potassic fertilizers, P and K. This is famously known as P and K. So, phosphatic and potassic fertilizers, government is implementing this NBS scheme, that is nutrient based subsidy NBS scheme, and this is with effect from 1st of April 2010. So this is old scheme, NBS nutrient based subsidy scheme, and this P and K fertilizer is part of that scheme. But urea is not part of that scheme. This is one important thing. Then some other steps related to this fertilizer sector. You are having new Urea Policy 2015, which has been notified with the objective of maximizing the indigenous production, promoting energy efficiency in production of urea, and then rationalizing the subsidy burden on the government. So for that purpose, you are having your new urea policy. Government has made it mandatory for all domestic producers of urea to produce only neem coated urea, and this is again one important thing which was done in roughly 2014-15 only. Then government has brought this potash derived from molasses, that is PDM. This is potash derived from molasses, PDM, under the nutrient based subsidy NBS scheme. So government has brought this under NBS scheme for the first times since the scheme started in 2010. So since the inception of this NBS scheme in 2010, for the first time this PDM, that is potash derived from molasses, is brought under nutrient based subsidy scheme. So these are various points related to your topic of agriculture and food management. Agriculture and food management. And after that, now starts the next section, that is industry and infrastructure. So till now we talked about sustainable development and climate change. After that we discussed about agriculture and food management. Now in that series, let's see the current data about industry and infrastructure. What the economic survey is talking about this sector, industry and infrastructure. Okay, so let's start with this industry and infrastructure. Within that, in the introduction, they are talking about the current data. What is the economic or growth related data of this sector? So the growth of the industrial sector in the first half of 2021-22, it was 22.9% vis-a-vis the corresponding period of 2020-21, and it is expected to grow by 11.8% in this financial year also. So the growth is 22.9% compared to 2020-21. And then during April to November 2021-22, your index of industrial production, that is IIP, it grew at 17.4% as compared to the negative growth rate of minus 15.3% in April to November 2020-21. That is one important data about the index of industrial production. Now there are some trend data which are given here, that gross value addition, that is GVA, at constant price in the industrial sector grew at the CAGR, that is compound annual growth rate, of 4.53%. So the GVA in the industrial sector grew at CAGR of 4.53% between 2011-12 and 2019-20. And then total GVA grew by CAGR of 5.63% over the same period. Total gross value added, it increased by 5.63% over the same period. And the share of industrial sector in the nominal GVA at current price of the country was 25.9% in 2020-21. These are various kind of factual economy related data about your industrial sector which are given in this chapter. Then they talk about some things related to manufacturing, that in 2020-21 the share of manufacturing decreased. This is one important point. The share of manufacturing fell to 14.4%, but it is expected to improve to 15.3% in 2021-22. That is one important point. When they talk about electricity, the share of electricity has been showing increasing trend. This is again one important point. Increasing trend since 2012-13, and it was 2.7% in 2020-21. Share of electricity 2.7% in 2020-21. Then in 2021-22, this manufacturing sector is expected to grow by 12.5%. Mining sector and quarrying sector, it is expected to grow by 14.3%. Construction sector by 10.7%, and electricity, gas and water supply. Now these three are counted together, electricity, gas and water supply. So this is expected to increase by 8.5% in 2021-22. Then they talk about the IIP, that is Index of Industrial Production. In April to November 2021-22, this index of industrial production grew by 17.4%. IIP grew by 17.4% in April to November 2021-22. IIP grew by 17.4% as compared to the negative growth rate in the corresponding period of previous year, that is minus 15.3%. That is one important point. Then why this growth was there? Because of supply side measures as also the steps to bolster the demand. So you are taking some supply side measures, and on the other side you are also trying to strengthen the demand taken to address the contraction, are responsible for significantly improved performance of industrial sector in 2021-22. Both things, supply side and demand side, both things are important here. And then growth in November 2021. So this one data which is given, growth in November 2021. Mining 5% was there, electricity 2.1% was there, and then manufacturing it was 0.9%. You should read about the basic concept of this IIP, because they can ask you this: who is releasing it, what are the different sectors that are involved here, what is the weightage of different sectors. All these things are important related to index of industrial production. In one prelims exam, they have asked you this question. In prelims exam, already they have asked you this question, IIP. Then major industrial groups like textile, then wearing apparel, After that, electricity equipment, motor vehicles, they have staged a strong recovery, and because of that, this IIP growth is seen. Improvement in the performance of textiles and wearing apparel, which is a labor intensive industry. This textile and wearing apparel, that is a labor intensive industry, and because of that, you can see employment creation is also boosted because of the performance of your textile and then wearing apparel sector. And that's why this textile sector, that is labor intensive sector, it is quite important for the employment generation in India. Then next point is IIP, and within that, index of 8 core index of 8 core, you can see industry, index of 8 core industry, that is ICI. Now these 8 core industries are coal, crude oil, then natural gas, refinery product, fertilizers, steel, cement, and electricity. These are the 8 core industries. 8 core industries. Again, I'm repeating this: coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers, steel, cement, and electricity. Now, this is an index of 8 most fundamental industrial sectors, because all other sectors are directly or indirectly dependent on this. These are 8 most fundamental industrial sectors of Indian economy, and they comprises 40.27% of the weight in IIP. So within this index of industrial production, 40.27% weightage is being taken by these 8 core industries. And the improvement in this 8 core industry, the acceleration that they are talking about in the 8 core industries, it is mainly driven by improved performance in your steel sector, cement sector, natural gas, coal, and electricity. So these 5 are the best performance within this sector: steel, cement, natural gas, coal, and electricity. Because of that, there is growth in this 8 core industries. And while talking about the 8 core industries, there is one important term that is mentioned here, that is capacity utilization, which is important indicator to assess the demand of any product and what are the investment prospects related to that sector in the economy. That is capacity utilization, which is important economic indicator to assess the demand and investment prospects of the economy. And this capacity utilization rates, these are largely able to track the pace of manufacturing activities in the economy. So related to your manufacturing sector, what is the potential demand and what are the potential investment prospects that can be tracked by using capacity utilization. So related to this manufacturing, one data is given that at aggregate level, this CU, that is capacity utilization for the manufacturing sector, has declined. This has declined to 40% in Q1 of financial year 21, and then it rose to 69.4% in Q4 of financial year 21. But after that, it again fell to 60% in Q1 of financial year 22. So it has declined, it has increased, and again it has slightly declined. That is the rough trajectory of this capacity utilization for manufacturing sector. So you cannot say that it consistently improved. In question, they can give you like this, that the capacity utilization for manufacturing sector consistently improved. That is wrong, because it is declining, it is again increasing, it is again declining. That is the kind of trend of this capacity utilization. Now there is one more important thing which is given here: business expectation index. In prelims also they can ask you that this is initiative of which of the following. So it is initiative of Reserve Bank of India, RBI's business expectation index, which will give you glimpse of the demand conditions in the manufacturing sector. And related to this business expectation index, there are some parameters. What are the parameters that are involved here? First is overall business situation, that is first parameter. Second is production. Third is order books, how much orders you are having. Then how much inventory of raw material you are having, that is one more parameter. And then how much finished goods are already with you. After that, they talk about profit margin, employment, export, and then the last point is capacity utilization. This is very important. So business expectation index of RBI, it is having these number of parameters: overall business situation, production, order books, inventory of raw material, finished goods, profit margin, employment, export, and then finally capacity utilization. This is RBI's business expectation index. Now there is one graph given related to this manufacturing index and then business expectation index. If you see this gray colored line, this manufacturing index, you can see that it is declining and again it is having that upward trend, declining and then again having upward trend. And quarter wise this data is given that quarter 4, quarter 1 it was declining, then in between quarter 1 and quarter 2 it started increasing now. This is in 2021-22. When we talk about business expectation index, it is consistently improving from the quarter 3, you can see from the quarter 3 of 2020-21. So it is consistently improving from the quarter 3 of 2020-21. So this manufacturing index and then business expectation index, which is released by RBI. This is important point. Business expectation index of RBI. Right. Now next they talk about very important term, that is gross fixed capital formation. Gross fixed capital formation, which is basically the gross addition to the fixed assets. Fixed assets means what? Machinery is there, equipments is there, intangible assets are there. After that, it also indicates the state of investment in the economy. That how many amount of you can say capital is being added to the fixed assets like machinery and equipment, intangible assets. So this is nothing but the measure of your gross fixed capital formation, and it also indicates the state of investment in the economy. So let's see what is the data related to this. So during 2019-20, the share of industrial sector in total gross fixed capital formation in the economy, and that is at the current price they are talking about, it recorded at 30.1%. Share of industrial sector was 30.1% in gross fixed capital formation, which is slightly lower than 31% in the previous financial year. So roughly you are having 30-31% of share of industrial sector in total gross fixed capital formation. And within this industrial sector, the share of manufacturing in gross fixed capital formation was 51%. So within industrial sector we are talking about, the share of manufacturing in gross fixed capital formation was 51%, followed by electricity at 23%, construction at 21%, and mining at 5%. That is the share in the gross fixed capital formation. So this is one map which is given related to this, one graph related to gross fixed capital formation. So various sectors are given: construction, then manufacturing, then industry overall. After that, electricity, gas, water supply, and other utility services, and then this mining and quarrying. This is ministry data, statistics and program implementation. This entire data is given here, and roughly they are talking about this fact in that graph: 51%, 23%, like that. Right. Then the next important point is financial supply to industry, because if you want to see growth in the industrial sector, you need to provide credit to the industrial sector. So gross bank credit to the industrial sector recorded a growth. So it increased of 4.1% in October 2021, and they are talking about in terms of year on year basis. So gross bank credit to the industrial sector recorded a growth of 4.1% compared to the negative growth of 0.7% in October 2020. So exactly 1 year ago there was negative growth, and now we are having a positive growth of 4.1%. So pandemic factor is being seen here. Certain industries like mining, textile, petroleum, coal products, nuclear fuels, also rubber, plastic, and infrastructure. All these industries have shown consistent improvement in the credit growth. So these sectors are getting more and more credit. That is the ultimate point here. So credit in industry, it has recorded growth of 4.1%. Then FDI. Next point is FDI in industry. So FDI inflows in India. FDI inflows in India. It stood at 45.14 billion US dollar in 2014-15. So the data is for 2014-15, 45.14 billion US dollar, and it have continuously increased since then. Continuously it is increasing only. India registered its highest ever annual FDI inflow of 81.97 billion US dollar. Again, this is a provisional data now, but in 2014-15 it was 45.14 and now it is 81.97. This is highest ever annual FDI inflow in 2020-21, and it reflected a growth of 10% as compared to the previous year. 10% growth in your FDI inflow you have seen in 2020-21. Now there is one more important point that you should read. It is New Public Sector Enterprise Policy 2021. So this you should read. New Public Sector Enterprise Policy 2021, which is mentioned in this survey report. Now total FDI inflow, it is roughly a gap, continuously increased. It has continuously increased 14-15 till 2020-21. It has continuously increased. Then FDI equity inflows in manufacturing and non-manufacturing sector. So in manufacturing sector, you can see that there is some kind of fluctuation here. The green one, that is manufacturing sector. And then non-manufacturing sector, you can see this kind of trajectory. For non-manufacturing sector, 2021-22 it is small because it is ongoing. So because of that the data was not available, and because of that it was like this. So this is roughly the data which is given by your Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce. FDI equity inflow, because this department is responsible for the management of entire FDI policy in India. So Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Now various government initiatives related to foreign participation or increasing the FDI. Various government initiatives are given here. Firstly, they talk about in this defense sector. Defense sector, the FDI Policy Amendment, which is notified through press note 2020, dated 17th-9/2020, it have been carried out to realize the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So if you see the exact point here, that FDI in defense sector is allowed up to 74% through automatic route now. Earlier it was 49%, now it is allowed up to 74%. For companies seeking new industrial license, this initiative is being taken. FDI, if you want to have beyond 74% up to 100% in defense sector, it is also permitted, but it will be through government route. It will be through 49%, and declaration should be done within 30 days. This is for defense sector. At least you should know this point, that the FDI in defense sector is allowed up to 74% through automatic route, and beyond 74% you will have this through government route. Then insurance sector, the government has raised the permissible FDI limit from 49% to 74% in the insurance companies under automatic route, and because of that you can see that there will be increased foreign participation here. Also, it will allow foreign ownership and control with certain safeguards in insurance sector. Foreign ownership is also allowed. Then third point is petroleum and natural gas sector, and this press note was in 2021. It permit the foreign investment up to 100% under the automatic route in cases where government has accorded in principle approval for the strategic disinvestment of PSU engaged in the petroleum and natural gas sector. So in case of that PSU, you will have the 100% automatic route foreign investment. So strategic disinvestment, again, that is key point which is highlighted here. And then fourth one, telecom sector. And this was again through press note in 2021. So it has been issued to permit foreign investment up to 100% under automatic route in the telecom services sector. So these are various kind of initiatives related to FDI. Apart from this, there are some other initiatives like curbing the opportunistic acquisitions or takeovers. This is again very important point, that government amended the FDI policy according to which an entity of a country, or any company of a country which shares land border with India. So any country which shares land border with India, or where the beneficial owner of an investment into India is situated. Let's say there is one person who is living in Nepal, and who is not from Nepal, but he is right now in Nepal. So the beneficial owner is situated in Nepal or is citizen of any such country. In that case, in that case, the company can invest only under the government route. There will not be any kind of automatic approval route. That is one point. Further, in the event of transfer of ownership of any existing or future FDI in an entity in India, directly or indirectly, resulting in the beneficial ownership falling within the restriction of the said policy amendment, such a subsequent change in beneficial ownership will also require government approval. So roughly what they are talking about, that if there is any country which is sharing border with India and you are a company from that country, then FDI is allowed for you, but that will be through government route. That is the ultimate point. Then FDI monitoring cell. FDI monitoring cell, it has been formed, which follows up the applicant or investor to expedite the FDI proposals with a view to identify and hurdles if any. If with a view to identify hurdles if any. And related to this FDI monitoring, an interministerial committee has been constituted under the chairmanship of Secretary Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Why this department? Because this is the ultimate authority related to FDI. So this interministerial committee will be constituted to take appropriate decision on delayed proposals and those escalated by administrative ministries or departments. So they will try to expedite the things. FDI monitoring cell, and the chairman will be secretary in this department for promotion of industries and internal trade. Then next they are talking about the sector wise performance and issues in industry. Sector wise performance and issues in industry. In this first sector that they are talking about is steel. And firstly they talk about COVID-19, that the sector has hit badly by the COVID-19, and then how is recovery made. So despite being hit by COVID-19, the steel industry has bounced back with a cumulative production of crude and finished steel in 2021-22, that is April to October month they are talking about, at 66.91 MT and 62.37 MT, and that is the increase of 25% and 28.9% respectively. That is the cumulative production of crude steel and finished steel. Both data they have given. Now this steel industry is expected to face increase in demand in the next financial year also. And why this is happening? Because on one side the global supply is having impact due to COVID-19. So steel industry is expected to face further increase in demand in the next financial year. And from the India's point of view also, you can see that there is a lot of infrastructure development that is happening, and for that purpose you will need steel, and that's why the steel demand will get increased. So this is mainly on account of government of India's focus on infrastructure development, including road, railway and defense production. Road, railway and defense production. And because of that the demand will increase. And the next sector that they are talking about is coal. First they talked about steel, some data about that is given. Then they are talking about coal, which is again important sector. related to energy demand of India. So coal is the most important and abundant fossil fuel in India, and roughly it accounts for 55% of country's energy need. Now, what is the data related to coal production? So it increased by 12.24% in April to October 2021. As compared to the same period in 2020, it was minus 3.91%. The coal production, it was minus 3.91% in April to October 2020. On one side, we are talking about improving or increasing the renewable energy supply, but as per the draft National Energy Policy of Niti Aayog, this demand of coal is expected to remain in the range of 1.3 to 1.5 billion tons by 2030. So the demand will remain in the range of 1.3 to 1.5 billion tons. So though we are focusing on renewables, that is the current situation. Nonetheless, several initiatives are being taken by the coal lignite producing PSUs to reduce their carbon footprints. What are the initiatives taken by various PSUs to reduce their carbon footprints? In that, first point that they have given is by 2020-21, PSUs had brought 56,000 hectare of land under green cover, and by that they have created a carbon sink of about 5 lakh tons of CO2 equivalent per year. That is one significant contribution by PSUs. Also, PSUs are having their installed renewable energy capacity. So, as on 31st of March 2021, the PSUs have installed renewable capacity of 1496 megawatt. That is again a significant contribution. Related to coal sector, this is one dimension that they have given. There is another important dimension of this, that opening up of coal mining for private sector. Opening up of coal mining for private sector, which is ambitious reform in the coal sector. And related to that, one data is given that 28 coal mines have been successfully auctioned, and out of these 27 are auctioned to private companies. Also, the auction process for another 88 coal mines is underway. That is one data or one progress related to this coal mining auction is given here. Then they talk about the micro, small, medium enterprises, MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises. Now, the importance of this MSME, it is quite huge, and through various sources we also know that this is very important sector for India. Now, what is the data which is given in survey then? The relative importance of MSME can be gauged from the fact that the share of MSME GVA, that is gross value added, in total gross value added at current price, it was 33.08% in 2019-20. That is the share, almost like one third of total GVA is through MSME. Now, related to MSME, what are the various initiatives? One is Micro Small Enterprises Cluster Development Program, that is MSE CDP. Then you are having this Prime Minister Employment Generation Program. After that, there is scheme of fund for registration of traditional industries, that is Spurti. And then you are having this Udyam registration portal. Now these schemes are being emphasized in this topic of MSME, and related to this Udyam registration portal, there is one important thing which is given, that now street vendors can also register on it and they can apply for the priority sector lending. That is one important development which is given here, Udyam registration portal. Now in this table they have given the definitions of MSME, old and new one. So old definition and then new definition. What is the meaning of micro? What is the meaning of small? And then what is the meaning of medium? So if you see this old definition of manufacturing, they are talking about investment in plant and machinery. So if it is not exceeding 25 lakh, you will count it micro. If it is between 25 lakh and 5 crore, you will call it small. And then if it is more than 5 crore but less than 10 crore, you will call it medium. So that was the first criteria, old definition. If you talk about services, micro, that means investment in equipment, it does not exceed 10 lakh. Small means investment in equipment is between 10 lakh and 2 crore. And then medium means investment in equipment is more than 2 crore, but it is not crossing rupees 5 crore. But these definitions are now changed. What are the new definitions of manufacturing and service? So both have combined now. Micro means investment in plant and machinery or equipment and turnover. So based on the turnover, the investment in plant and machinery or equipment does not exceed rupees 1 crore and turnover does not exceed rupees 5 crore, then you will call it micro industry. Then small means the investment in plant and machinery or equipment, it is not exceeding rupees 10 crore and turnover is not exceeding rupees 50 crore, then you will call it small. And then medium means what? That investment in plant and machinery or equipment, it is not exceeding rupees 50 crore and then this turnover is not exceeding rupees 250 crore. That is the new definition of MSME now, micro, small and medium enterprise. So this new definition you should know. New definition of micro, small and medium enterprise. This is given in this box form in this chapter of survey. And then related to this MSME, there is one more important thing, that is Champions Portal. Champions Portal, which is ICT based technology system for making the smaller units big. Whatever smaller units are there, you need to make them big, like progress between micro, small, medium. So making the smaller units big by helping and hand holding them. And for that purpose, we will have this information and communication technology, that is ICT support to the industries. And that will be given by Champions Portal. What are the key features of this portal? First of all, it will provide information to people, information dissemination. Regular updates on recent developments in MSME sector will be provided. Then with a view to resolve the grievances in a fast track manner, whatever problems the sector is having, in order to resolve it in a fast track manner, all nationalized banks, they are talking about all nationalized banks, a good number of private and regional rural banks, then state financial corporations, after that central government ministries or departments, state governments, central public sector enterprises, they have onboarded on the portal. So in order to resolve the grievances, whatever agencies that are present, that are all onboarded on the portal. Then third point is the scheme or program wise mapping of officials of the ministry for fast track response of the grievances. So scheme wise mapping of official is also there, that if there is any kind of grievance, then directly you can approach the respected official related to that particular scheme or program. And then fourth point is integration with various portals such as MSME Samadhan, then Udyam registration, and after that centralized public grievance redressal and management portal, CPGRAM. So these are the various kind of features of your champions portal related to this micro, small and medium enterprises. So till this point, we have seen about the industry and infrastructure chapter of economic survey, and rest of the points of this chapter we will cover in our next session. So tomorrow we will be having our last session on economic survey, in which we will cover the rest of the topics that are given in economic survey. So we will stop here. Thank you. Thank you very much.